Welcome back to the greatness that is Yoshihiro Togashi's Hunter x Hunter. This time, manga chapter 388, live reaction read through. Very excited for this chapter since last week's chapter was amazing. Just look at the content in chapter 383, 385, how Togashi set that all up. And yeah, just shout out to King's video, made an awesome video about the content and that. But very excited. Live reaction read through this week for this chapter. If you haven't read the chapter, come read along with me. And if you want to read it again, get it on Manga Stream. Let's do this right now. But this week's chapter is 388, Deliberation. And the latest volume 36 is on sale in Japan if you want to buy the Japanese volume or wait a year and get it, the English version. I've still got 31 volumes to get. But I digress. So here we go. Will they be able to learn Nen? And we're back to the room. Kurapika and all the guys. Is it really okay to let him have free reign like this? It couldn't be helped. Learning Nen is our top priority. As we remember from a couple of chapters ago, Kurapika, he's just not negotiating at all. It's his say and nothing else goes. But if this situation was specifically what they were after, then we would have fallen right into their plans. If whatever they're planning is against us, they might try something like manipulating you or forcing you to act according to their own will. But if any manipulation through Nen is tried, we will stop it. After which, we will restrain Bill and Kurapika immediately, just as we had warned them previously. If we keep surveillance tight and watch carefully, we will know whether or not someone is being controlled. Being that this is also a matter of security, I would like you to entrust this to me. Although I believe this to be a bit overkill and heavy-handed, seeing that you are the first prince's elite soldiers, I shall leave it to you. You don't want to mess with him. If I want to figure out Kurapika and Bill's abilities, I can't exactly just let them run free and completely unchecked. From the present circumstances, it would seem that he's using some ability from within that room that he can't let be seen for whatever reason, or he's just trying to completely cut us off from information, including any hint at what he might be doing. He continues thinking in his head. But if in this short period of time, that woman, Lagiolus, comes out actually being able to use Nen, then we'll know he's not trying to take control of us or something like that. And then Baviyama thinks, all these participants still lack enough, enough training to have their aura nodes be forcibly opened without incurring real damage. The only possibility would be a method using some manipulator type ability to semi-force them open. But if that is the case, then the user's aura, in this case Kurapika's, would be mixed in with theirs. With so many samples to observe, I would definitely notice if any of them were being manipulated by Kurapika's aura. But Kurapika is a specialist. If we consider that a byproduct of him activating his ability is awakening Nen in his target, then I could understand the basis behind Kurapika's seemingly rock solid confidence in his time limit. If that is the case, then the only thing we would have verified is that Kurapika is in fact a specialist, and that his ability's condition for activation is giving someone Nen abilities. Getting into text dialogues. He's using that to give us all Nen so that he can use us as tools to prolong the life of the prince and queen he's defending. We'll have pulled it off. And although incredibly unlikely, we can't ignore the possibility that he's doing all of this to mislead us from the fact that Bill is in fact the one with the actual ability. Baviyama says, we need to be careful and proceed slowly collecting what information we can. I agree, just as you said. If we rush in, we'll just be digging our own graves. I've got to acknowledge this. He's a formidable foe. Yes, they are the first prince's private guard and carry authorization as such, but before I entrusted anything to them, I wanted to just confirm the prince's orders. Yes, and you see all the participants in the training, some of the bodyguards as well in the security. And we have Kurapika Bill. Her aura flow has clearly increased. This is the state of someone that has entered the stage of having gained Nen and being able to control it. Without any prior knowledge, it should normally take a year of practicing the fundamentals every single day for at least 3 hours to reach this point. Well, I can't judge based based on just one person, but I don't believe she's being manipulated. How was it? How did the water divination ceremony, right? I can't say anything about it right now. I'm sorry. And Krapika says, in order to avoid any bias or preconceived predictions and keep a rigid, fair, and impartial judgment, I'm requesting everyone to please not speak about their individual results until after everyone is finished. In the event that anyone breaks that request, I reserve the right to end training right then and there. So I would like you all to cooperate with me on this matter. It appears as though the third prince's private soldier, Tenfutori, will be the last to be examined. You probably intend to use the upper-ranked prince's bodyguards to deter any intentional rule breaking, right? If anyone did try to break the rules, to interrupt and end the training, even if it were me, the person responsible will be prosecuted. Mao, you're next. Okay, here we go, page 6. Considering your age, I really must commend the speed at which you made your way through the training. Both you and Rongi mustn't speak about any of this for the duration of this time period. Is that alright? I see. So even if we discover his strategy or the means by which he's doing this, we can't do anything against him. Very well. But if I feel that I'm in danger, then we reserve the right to end all of this ourselves. Of course. Now then, please step inside. And more comes in the room. There's Oito and Wobble. And there's like a pill in a glass. What is it? Moving right along. Starting now. Everything I say will be the truth. Of course, that doesn't mean you're required to believe me. Our main priority, above all else, is protecting the lives of the 14th Prince Wobble and 8th Queen Oito. In order to achieve that, we are sharing Nen abilities and knowledge of them with all of you. So, then when you said you wanted to create a stalemate in power until we made land, that wasn't a lie. Precisely, the water divination ceremony was originally a way for those that had acquired Nen to discern what type of Nen ability they had. But today we are using it as a means to prove that Nen abilities have been awakened in you. Ah, of course. Kurapika definitely doesn't trust a lot of the security guards of the other prince's quarters. Inside this cup, there is a plant seed. Normally, we would never place something different like this in it beforehand, but to be frank, we've no other option. Which is why we're doing it this way. Okay, what's he got planned, Kurapika? Continue. Just as I outlined over the last week, Nen abilities are something that anyone is capable of attaining, but the speed of which people pass through the training will be different from individual to individual, of course, based on natural ability and skill. Furthermore, it is not something that can be gained overnight. There's an alternative method to forcefully acquire Nen, receiving a Nen attack. Yes! Who had that before? We've had that before somewhere throughout the story. I just can't remember. Who was it again? I think it was one of the Chimera Ants, but I could be wrong. If you know, please let me know in the comment section down below. I fully understand your reservations and cautiousness, but I swear that I will not harm you. Being an alternative method, it is frowned upon and quite taboo, so the word attack is used as convenience to dissuade against it. But actually, this Nen attack also includes healing abilities and lending abilities. I see. Just take the risk, extra power, that's what everyone wants. Bill. And here goes Bill, using the divination with the plant, and water goes all around the top. And look at the detail on that panel on page 9. Just the shading is great. I love that. Bill is an enhancer type Nen user. By using Hatsu, he is able to stimulate and hasten growth in his target. And then you have the seed. It's sprouting. Then Mao notices it. How shocking. So then you're saying if you hold your hands over me like you did that seed, you can awaken abilities within me as well. Yeah, true. Not quite. If I did that, the effects to those still untrained or lacking enough would be weak, and we would be unable to deliver the results promised within the time limit. Bill is going to lend his powers to me, and then I in turn will lend them to you. Although I shouldn't be telling you this. This is an indirect attack. Officially, I am a specialist with a lending type ability that in and of it itself is not an attack ability. But when I activate it, it has a secondary effect of semi-forcing Nen abilities to awaken in someone without them. If you don't consent to what I've explained up until now, then I won't use my ability. You can just open that door, say I'm resigning, and leave the room. I would like for you to keep everything I told you here a secret, but I'm aware that I can't force you to. So is Mao going to do it? Oh, so there we see. So he did do it. Okay, yeah, let's show in the previous scene, and his aura is intense. I'm almost completely certain there's no way that he's being manipulated. Both Lagiolus and Mao are now ready to use Nen. What Krupika said was true. So then, this confirms that Krupika used his specialist ability to cause their Nen awakening, mate. You've got no clue. But that's most likely only one of many abilities he has. The information he's deliberately giving out is that he's actually restraining us and keeping us from acting. If I assume his abilities are split up into 5, just like his 5 fingers, then in truth, we still don't know a thing about his abilities. Depending on today's training, I believe a few more people will reach the water divination ceremony. But in regards to gaining abilities, the most important part begins now. Nen that will act as the deterrent to assure our mutual goal of stalemate. Alright, page 12. We're getting so much dialogue in this chapter. Still good though. It is essential for a Nen user to have another Nen user believe they are one at first glance. If your appearance comes off that way, then your opponents will equip themselves with the appropriate defensive powers. So then, does this mean he wasn't lying about anything he said? That's right, it's the truth. How incredible. I can feel myself overflowing with vitality. I can feel this aura rising up around me like a warmth. I can also tell that if it were to run out, then I would be completely out of energy. I need to synchronize my breathing with it, and then stop it as if I were holding my breath. Perhaps I should imagine myself closing off my pores, and then little by little begin to let my breath out in long exhale. Mao is probably just not used to the amount of power that just he's able to succumb, just the amount of energy that is overflowing in around his body, just probably a bit too intense. From his appearance, there seems nothing out of the ordinary. He seems like someone progressing along with his training, but looking at the large amount of aura, it just doesn't match up with him. If this is an act, it's not the level one could accomplish through a trick, just by manipulating someone. This is absolute top class skill. What? A needle? Hold on, let's read the other thing. I feel like we're just about to get intense here. If a soldier with a high level of combat skill were to have that much aura, I'd be forced to be on my guard, just as if you realized you were physically outclassed by your opponent. Is Krupika intending to continue on this course for a second or third time, or perhaps he's looking for it as an excuse to stop it? So we have a needle, the judgment chain, the finger. Oh. Yep. So it's Dolphin's son is back. Currently, you and I are linked through Krupika's ability. The Halcyon ability I've been loaded with will now be transferred from Krupika to you, Miss Yuri. If you concentrate on activating it, then you'll be able to do the same thing Bill did. So is everyone getting a different one? Like Moa got something different explaining the plant water divination. That's what he did. And then we're seeing the dolphin ability for this other Lady Yuri, because that didn't happen for Moa as well. So is everyone getting a slightly different ability that's getting explained? Because that didn't happen to Moa. Maybe it's just the lower members, like the people who are the cleaners, etc., like Yuri, that's getting the dolphin ability. Continuing, that aura is being lent to you, so it is not your own ability. Okay, so it's just for the weak ones pretty much, because Moa was probably still pretty strong and had a potential within him, unlike this lady doesn't have a thing probably. But now you have been awoken, so if you master Ten and Hatsu through your breathing exercises, then without anyone finding out, you can do the water divination ceremony on your own and discover your own Nen typing. Okay, so just awakening their Nen within them, getting it to come out better. So then what about all your explanation earlier? I couldn't explain all of the complicated details out there. Besides, I wanted to know just how much resolve everyone had. Okay. Page 14, here we go. I want to do everything in my power to ensure that not one more person on board falls victim to this succession war. Kurapika, he's got so much guilt and, just sadness about everything that's happened. Over 40 people have died in this bloody succession war so far, and he really wants to ensure that no one else dies. It's commendable, it really is. In order to accomplish that, I want to spread this power to as many people as possible. I'm planning to run this training a second and third time. If you could tell that to the 10th Prince Kacho and 6th Prince Psycho, well, you're not going to be able to do that for Kacho. I would greatly appreciate it. Yes, sir, thank you. And Bill thinks, indeed, at that present moment, Kurapika's strategy is the best, but I've seen the honourable and poor corrupted into greedy, power-crazed despots after achieving wealth. Oh, so many times. It's impossible to predict what will happen from here on out. People are so easily changed by power. So true. All the more so when their interests align. My own power isn't suited for battle, and Kurapika's is most likely the same way. If the tensions should break and give way to the unstoppable succession war, then we may end up being crushed by the power that we ourselves granted anyway. Do you have some trump card up your sleeve? Damn right. That brings today's classes to an end. I don't even have to confirm it. Of course you do, don't you? Still, to quell this unpredictable dilemma and bring things this far without boiling over is already quite the feat. Okay, here we go. Bill, thank you. You have my gratitude. Huh? Where'd that come from? It's rare for a male to be enhanced with a support type ability, since most of them would choose to take it in a direction where they could increase their battle power. Normally, I would have certainly preferred to not have your power found out by them. Oh, that's what you mean. Well, it was for our strategy, and you took the initiative and revealed your own ability, so it's not like I was about to not reveal my own, right? Are you okay still going down this path? There still is the possibility that we may not reach the goal we're trying for, you're right. Although we boarded this ship under Beyond's orders, in order to make it to the new continent, we chose the room 1014 on our own. The prince was just a baby, so I didn't think he'd get wrapped up into the severe battles. Page 16. Then the succession war began, everything descended into chaos, and though I talked and acted strong in reality, I was lost. And then I didn't know what to make of trying to escape from a place I chose for a disgraceful reason, and that's when Vincent, the first prince's assassin, arrived. Bloody Vincent. And even he couldn't stand me. After all, I was a coward who only made my decision after arguing with you and the Queen. Cowards don't make decisions. They don't resolve themselves, Bill. Kurapika. Instead of Tenfutori, I was thinking of taking their place and going first to do the water divination. After all, I feel it best that one of us gets their power awakened as soon as possible. Your instinct is probably right. That rumbling just isn't normal. Everyone that can use Nen should have felt the threat in it. I wouldn't be surprised if something were on the move, trying to take measures into their own hands. But Hashito, you haven't gone through the training of the fundamentals like the other participants. Therefore, although after awakening you may temporarily be powerful, more powerful than even the others, you'd shortly thereafter be stricken by fatigue and exhaustion, to the point that you wouldn't even be able to stand. To be honest, I did want to have my power awakened, but there's just the concern that all this could still be some kind of trap. Training the fundamentals of Nen, huh? My bodyguard shift has been lengthened, so maybe I should give it a go, too. Okay. He's including everything. He's literally not leaving any piece of information out to Togashi. He's trying to get all of his points in for this arc that he wants to talk about. Therefore, at the present moment, the 14th Prince and the 3rd Prince are bound by a very tight peace treaty. But it is temporary, and it isn't the most equal alliance, so there are openings to exploit. We're getting back to Tebeppa. The Nen acquisition was actually true. We have definitive proof, which means we should have everyone acquire this mighty power. Mao is convinced with Kurapika, doesn't tell bullshit. Let's see what Tebeppa thinks. Well done. As for the treaty, negotiate to maintain it. He's smart, just Tebeppa. He doesn't want to shake any waters. Nothing to lose by not siding with Kurapika. As far as Nen goes, you are taking a rather proactive stance that we should learn it. Yes, the risk of a trap is almost zero. Furthermore, I believe if we continue with a stance of trust and faith that regarding the treaty, they will sympathize with our sentiments, and it should develop naturally. Understood. If there are any additional classes requested, I'll give our consent. I'll leave the personnel selection to you. Yes, sir. Though he's open and honest with his strategy meanings, the Princess Nen beast lurking in the back doesn't know itself at all. Should we really be wasting time right now to go after the 9th Prince so urgently? Here we have Benjamin's guards. I want to use your ability to slaughter the 9th Prince's Nen beast with certainty. Oh, it's this guy. Can't remember. I think it was Usoshi, this guy. For now, restrain yourself. Don't act rashly. This guy's like an assassin. Indeed, it is a sound argument, but 5th Prince Tebeppa's Nen beast still hasn't shown itself, which means it's guarding its safety even more than 9th Prince Hulkenberg's. But by that rationale, no matter where I am, the risk is the same. If I don't figure out the enemy's ability on my own, then I won't be able to raise a predator. If we continue avoiding all risk and danger, then I won't be able to display the true specialty of this ability. Like how we're getting more of an explanation of his predator ability there, just fleshing it out a bit more. And here we go, but continue. It's not just that, it's that aura of Mao's. He's at the final stage where his aura nods are opened and he's able to use Nen abilities, but compared to his state this morning, it's such an enormous leap. That Kurapika person, it seems he truly is aiming to spread fighting strength to everyone in order to cause an equilibrium. Though he may be a beginner, depending on his ability's nature, it could still pose a threat against a top-class user. That is the power of Nen. Furthermore, having a clear, precise goal of wanting to defend the prince will have a profound effect upon the nature of their Nen abilities. This page, the text dialogues. Wow. Nearly a full page. It just continues, but we fucking love it. Oh, God. An ability that discovers the ability of your enemy. An ability that cancels the ability of your enemy. An ability that steals the ability of your enemy. It's inevitable that I'm going to wind up facing numerous opponents with abilities similar in style to mine. This only increases the risk of just standing back and watching. If I'm going to act, the sooner the better. What I really want to use my predator to eliminate Kurapika. Ooh. But in order to do that, I would have to fulfill the condition of figuring out what all 5 of the abilities that I've hypothesized he has are. And that's just not realistic. Man, I would love to see a fight between Usoshi and Kurapika by the end of this first part of this Succession War arc. Predator acts on its own. On top of that, it's ill-matched against opponents with multiple abilities, particularly counter types which it has no means of evading, whereas up against an enhancer or an emitter, they themselves do become the target, but they're able to turn the tables around a lot. They're far from invincible, but they have a spray and pray method on their side. They can just keep attacking, and with enough tries, eventually one will hit. Besides, my ability requires 48 hours to recharge. unlike the aforementioned spray and pray, which, if it connects, will certainly kill. If that's so, then I shouldn't be going after 5th Prince Tebeppa, but 9th Prince Hulkenberg, even though he's a risk involved. If Hulkenberg makes a move, room 1009 is an optimal location for me to let loose my ability, revealing as little as possible about myself while discovering the opponent's ability. If I can manage that on my own, then Predator will grow strong and powerful. So he killed Cao Cao on day 7. We're up to some part on day 8, so it's probably got a few more hours, 10 hours left, until he can activate his ability. But if I use other soldiers to do my work while I hide in safety, the Predator that's born will be weakened, and it will raise the risk that it may not be able to take out its prey. I have a massive wealth of experience to draw from in order to calculating the risk and timing when making decisions in life and death situations. Suddenly, everyone has confidence in what they're doing. I can understand this coming from a commander of an army, a man using experience gained over his long years on the battlefield to carefully consider the actions of his entire unit and give the most prudent order. But what's so prudent or careful about an assassin committing suicide? Was there a manipulator somewhere nearby, or perhaps Hulkenberg's Nenbeast is a manipulator type? He's not dumb, Usoshi. He's thinking every step carefully, deciding what's best for him to do. Figure it out. Oh, it's Li Han. So many names to remember. Do it yourself. Why did he give the order to stay prudent? Perhaps his assessment of the enemy's ability is wrong. That would taint everything I tried to verify afterwards, making it all unreliable. More text dialogues. It is insane this week. Your ability's crux is that you can't ask for advice or counsel. There must be a hint. If the assassin is a manipulator, then I must be able to find the lead from there. But if he wasn't being manipulated, then does that mean they have an ability that made the assassin choose death by his own will? The only thing I can think of is some kind of body swap. If his aura was so massive that it caused a rumbling like that, then surely if he were to target someone with his ability alone, they would have an exceedingly slim chance of winning, unless he gave up his own life in exchange for the guarantee of safety for the first prince. No, that's impossible. The assassin would know that Sir Benjamin, the first prince, despises things like begging for one's life more than anything else. That's exceedingly simple. Prince Cao Cao, consumed as he is with narcissism and the desire to express it, would never miss out on performing live over just a little bad health. He's the kind of man that would gladly broadcast himself even if he were so ill that he couldn't even move. Or he can bask in the role of the tragic main character. Yet, he didn't choose either option, which means Prince Cao Cao is dead. He's now analysed it pretty well. And then there's First Prince Benjamin's private guard rotation. This leads us to one solution, that the assassin was carried out by Prince Benjamin's private guard, and the next target is me. He's being very cautious. He's trying to consider every move, who will make the next move on him, and he thinks Benjamin is coming after him. First, I need to find out Prince Cao Cao's cause of death. If I can confirm that it was an assassin by means of Nen ability, I can pull up a listing of possible abilities that could have done the deed and come up with a countermeasure. What graphs are you looking at there? Maybe the Hunter exam website? If he has a login, maybe a pass. If I give that information and mission to those who have had abilities awakened in them, it may grant effects on the ability that they ultimately acquire. Hyson, please deal with this. Yes, sir. Okay, here we go. I want to investigate the shifts the Prince Benjamin's private guards, but I need to give a good enough excuse to ensure I don't invite the suspicion of Kingdom's legal officers. I must be careful. Did Mother's private guard, the ones watching over Prince Cao Cao, not hear anything regarding room 1008? Information is bound to get leaked to Camilla, but if I could learn of the cause of his death and the situation surrounding it all at once, I'll negotiate directly with Mother myself. There's a lot of risk in me making direct contact with the second Queen's family guard, but there's no way that mother would have made any decision without discussing it with my sister first. If she's given the okay, then I should consider that this might have been sister's plan as well. Moa still isn't seeking any kind of defense against Nen abilities, but she would have needed some kind of a partner, no matter what Kurapika. 10th day, 10:30, 11:30 AM. So some time's passed. The fourth rumble. The interval between them is shrinking, quietly piercing through, an ominous rumbling. Kurapika senses something. What will that be? We'll have to wait until next week. Wow, that was a massive chapter of reading Hunter x Hunter. A real setup chapter. A lot of awesome stuff was explained. Kurapika really, he's not trying to trick any of the bodyguards inside that room or any of the other people in there, teaching them, unlocking their Nen potential. They all have different abilities. We had introduced to a new type of the water divination of the plant, further enhancing someone's strength to not be able to obviously train for months in order to get to that time of that Nen ability. I liked some of the dialogue we had with Bill and Kurapika. Bill, the motive behind his Nen type, his Hatsu, and also Kurapika. A lot of great character development that's always been established through this arc. His obviously number one priority is to protect Wobble and Oito, but he really has that strong desire to make sure that no one else dies in this succession war. He's so focused on it, and he has a lot of gil, and he's, you know, a lot of strain is happening on Kurapika. We saw that when he fainted before, when he'd used his ability for too long. But I'm just always wondering if can Kurapika withstand all this? Is he gonna eventually break? And then, you know, we might have a fight with Kurapika and Li Han, which would be pretty cool. He's got a pretty cool ability. But I did like some of the dialogue we did get with Benjamin's bodyguards explaining their next method. We had some more explanation of Li Han's Predator ability. That was really good to see. And even their explanations of who they're going to get next, Kurapika, Tebeppa, and their plan to go ahead to try and take that forward and succeed. And even we got some details about Predator ability still has time to, you know, come back together. But we did get a time skip, so Li Han will probably be able to use the ability now because it is the 10th day. And also we got some nice content about Tebeppa. Already and now analysed that Benjamin's troops coming after Tebeppa and are going to try and take Tebeppa out. And Togashi could have just written Tebeppa's dialogue of just pretty simply just saying, you know, that, oh, Benjamin's guards are going to come after me. But he had dialogue after dialogue of explaining the reasons why Benjamin's bodyguards are coming after him. I'm hoping this will be good in the anime when it comes out. It was just so much dialogue, which is fine. Setup chapter this week's mean we're probably going to get an action-packed chapter next week, I'd say, or possibly more stuff involved with the crime, the mafia families, and possibly the Phantom Troop next week, because 89 is next week, and then one final chapter probably. So, very excited. I can't wait for another chapter of Hunter x Hunter next week. Thank you for watching the whole live reaction read-through if you did. Thanks for watching my content as always. And remember, if you like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe down below and hit the notification bell. Thanks guys, have an awesome day and have a great weekend. Jonesy out.